If you want the full Pass the Aux experience, you need to be listening in the playlist.
Check the description of this soundbite, click the link, and there you'll find the playlist. Turn shuffle off and enjoy. The usual classic crew at the top: Howls, MCM House, Backchat Victoria, Bad Man Rob behind the decks, Tom. Another epic guest, a guest who wants to make a difference, just like Dr. Billy Garvey a couple of weeks ago. Who have we got here with us today?
Today we have a man who I know nothing about at all, which is the magic of PTA. But we have a man who I first came across on Instagram by the handle of Non-Practicing Genius. And this account shared a certain man's views and perspectives on life and what are the thoughts that goes on inside the head. And there was just a few clips of content that just absolutely resonated with me, and I thought, what a courageous man, what an interesting play on vulnerability, and they really had an impact on the way I thought about things and changed my behaviour. So today, to the PTA audience, I'm honoured to welcome a man by the name of Zach Perez.
Great to be here, guys. Thanks for that. Beautiful intro.
Thank you,
Tom.
man. I've been working on them. Got about 30-something eps in now. We're starting to get a bit of a handle on it. But, you know, we spoke earlier about we're freestyling this today because, you know, we haven't met each other too often. We don't know too much about each other. But what we are bonded over is a mindset, is a framework on how we should be, and as well as a good friend of ours mutually, a man by the name of Adam Selwood, which we'll get into later. But firstly, I mentioned the Instagram mission. Can you talk us through Non-Practicing Genius? Tell us a little about what it is and how it started and what the message is.
Absolutely. So I'd love to have said that it was a grand plan of mine to get this thing up and going and to have sort of gained the notoriety that it has. But what really happened was about 18 months ago, I took a career break. I was burnt out from what I was doing and I wanted to write a movie. That's my great passion. So
Has that always been your passion?
Has been for about the last 15 years.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. And I'd been stopping and starting on this one idea, could never get continuity. And circumstances sort of presented themselves that I was like, I'm going to quit this job. I'm going to write this movie. And I'd had a movie made previously and I'd just sort of seen the difficulty of trying to get it out there to people. So I thought, I'll try and do a bit of social media stuff to see if I can get 10,000 followers. So when this movie does come out, at least that's 10,000 potential sets of eyes for it. And that was the genesis. And I'd been working in marketing for quite a while. I'd had some success building kind of communities and different things online. But I thought, what am I going to talk about? And I just jumped on TikTok and I was like, everyone's younger than me. They're way cooler. Like they've got these special talents. And it's like, I don't really have that. I could try and talk about screenwriting, but is there really a mass market out there that's going to give a damn? So I thought the one thing I have is I'm coming up on my 40th. I'm probably the oldest dude on this app. So let's share some insights of a guy who's 40, you know, under the guise of things I wish I knew at 20 now that I'm 40. And some of those kind of ended up catching fire. But I guess the ones that really did or really set me on my path were me just talking about things that my friends and I do. And some of those really caught on.
Can you give us an example of what one of those reels is?
One of them was about this thing called the Wednesday Waffle. And it was a Wednesday and I just was sitting in my car and I'd sent this little short 2-minute video message off to my mates, which is what we'd been doing for a couple of years.
Just in a group chat, you like guys chatting all week and then Wednesday Waffle, it's just like
bang,
an
send a
update
video.
of what you're doing, right?
Yeah. And I'd shown my partner one of them because my mate's little daughter was in it. And I just thought, hey, check this out.
Yeah.
Like, check out their cute kid. And she was just taken by the fact that, hang on, you guys have been sending these videos every Wednesday for a couple of years. Like, she just thought that was sick. And she's a psychologist and she just could really see like the benefit of it. So I told this little story in my car on TikTok and, you know, forgot about it. A bit later in the day I looked at it and it sort of kind of blown up and then it just continued.
And then was that your first TikTok you'd ever posted?
Not my first one, but it was the first one that really went sort of around the world.
And maybe the first one where you kind of like was like, fuck it, I don't care about it. I'm just putting it out to the world, right?
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, like there was certainly no big, it wasn't like I'd scripted it. I've sent this video off and I was like, oh shit, that's something I could talk about, tell people. Maybe there'll be other dudes out there who might want to do something similar, because it had really brought a strength to our connection that, we wouldn't have otherwise had, and we're not living in the same part of the world. So there were sort of some key reasons why it worked. It's like, you don't have to all get together at the same time. You can watch it in your own time. You can send it in your own time. And then it's there for all of eternity to go back and watch if you need to. Like, we've had guys who've announced that they're having kids, or they're engaged, or those sort of like big milestone stuff. Like, they've used Wednesday Waffling to share that. And I even did that myself when my partner and I announced that we were having a kid. And to then have those videos from these dudes, like, to hold on to forever, just their sheer enthusiasm and excitement and whatever, words of encouragement are just, treasured kind of memories now.
Well, I reckon that video reached my screen, and as a 29-year-old who has 10 best mates who he doesn't get to see very much anymore because of following my family, the interests of my kids, my career, and we're all doing that, right? To see the Wednesday Waffle come across my screen, and it's like, that's such a good idea. It costs you nothing, like you said. It doesn't need to be this big orchestrated thing, and everyone doesn't need to log in, and it doesn't take a lot of logistics. It's just like, hey, here I am right now, boys.
100%.
This is what's going on for me. Almost a bit of allocate who's next. Finn Smith, let us know how you're going. And I honestly didn't even know you were going to say that, because that's not how I associated non-practicing genius to myself. I thought it was I'm 40 now, this is what I wish I knew when I was 20, because it's just, they're the best piece of advice. But evidently the Wednesday Waffles come across my screen, and mate, I reckon that afternoon, me and my 10 best mates started up our own Wednesday Waffle.
Unreal.
And it took a marginally different framework, but it was exactly that. Hey boys, here's 5 photos of what I've been up to.
Awesome.
A bit of a chat about whatever it was, and then 2 songs.
Yeah,
and
cool.
It might be this one throws me back to when we were all at that music festival southbound, and we slept in Darcy's car, and everyone starts sharing just things about themselves.
Yeah.
And it's been such a meaningful part of our social group. And now we've got a golf trip that we've organised through the same group for our 30th birthday. And
Unreal.
so there's been a genuine materialisation of us all getting together.
Yeah.
But it started with your Wednesday Waffle.
There you go.
That's hit my Instagram, and I had no idea.
Yeah, that is crazy. And I do get people sort of telling me those stories, they've gone and made it their own thing, which is great. And, these are people from every corner of the globe. And like, it is crazy that, that something you throw out there kind of incidentally can then, turn into this somewhat of a social movement that can add value to people's lives. And I guess there's a few angles to it. I mean, I've got some really heartwarming and heartbreaking messages from people. They're like, me and this relative were doing this for the last few months before they passed, and the fact that I've got those videos to always hold on to is like, the best thing ever. And then there's other people who are like, oh, I wish my brother had this. Maybe he'd still be here if he'd have had something like this with his friends. And, it sort of really cuts through to you when you hear that sort of stuff. It's like, oh wow, like, it's sort of, I know that I'm benefiting from it, but I hadn't really thought about, the people out there who maybe are lacking that type of connection. But just on what you were saying, how you've sort of taken it and ran with it, Tom, that's where we started. We actually were an albums club. We were sharing an album a week, and then we would give a little video review of it. And send them through on Wednesdays.
And just any album, could be not recently released, could be
just anything
from the archives you listened to when you were 10, something like that.
Exactly.
Epic.
So, and then we did that for at least a year, maybe longer. And then over Christmas, we kind of lost our way a bit. And then, one of us just jumped in on a Wednesday and was like, no album, but I'm just going to do a little Wednesday waffle, let you know what I've been up to.
And coined the term Wednesday waffle
that was
immediately.
It. Yeah.
Epic, man.
Yeah. And that was it. And we did that for a couple of years before we ever mentioned it. As I said, my partner had no idea I'd been doing it. I'd been doing it for a couple of years before it sort of came across her desk when... Yeah.
Well, that's incredible. And obviously you have found a way to communicate that value that is missing from so much of our lives. Like, we're so segregated. Things are so unusual now in the way we communicate and get together. Your work is your life, and your family's your life, and, your sort of social circle's meant to come after those kind of things. So I think it speaks to what is a really powerful message. And evidently the sort of algorithms backed you up there. So that's really special.
Yeah.
I kind of had a bit of an idea as you were speaking. I want to, find out about your journey with music and your life and who you are personally, like we always do on Pass the Orcs. But why don't we throw to a couple of tracks that have come out of the album sharing WhatsApp,
awesome.
And then we can get stuck into Zach Perez.
Okay, sweet. I'll throw one that I put to the boys. It's a song called Song for Zula by Phosphorescence. And I think the first time I heard this song, I was at my mate's house, and it just sounded like something that I would want to play as the soundtrack of my life. I could just picture my life sort of flashing before my eyes.
That real cinematic feel. Hey?
It did. Yeah. And I don't know if it's been used in that context before, but it's just tailor-made for it. And I was like, what is this? And this is incredible. And I listen to it sort of every week, and it just makes me emotional how phenomenal it is. And my partner and I, the day we found out that we were having a baby, we went and saw him and the band, and it was just a great thing to share.
That's goosebumps. So he happened to be playing on the same day that
Exactly.
you guys got the news.
Exactly.
Wow, that's incredible. Well, say no more. Let's go to Song for Zula by Phosphorescent.
Yeah.